Hello and welcome back to another video. In this video, I'm going to be going over again with you the Pokemon video games and what to look for legit and non-legit games. And my Charizard fell off. I'll have to glue him back on. But I'm going to be answering a few questions, and not only that, I'm going to be showing you what one of our viewers actually showed me, and it's pretty awesome. So to touch on some of the things that I covered before that were incorrect, I mentioned in a previous video that the inside cards on here for red and blue need to have a solid piece of cardboard in it that's non-removable that you can put the game into. That is legitimate copies. Turns out there's actually 3 different variation prints for each one of these games, and I did not know that before because nobody had ever came up with a complete list of all the different variations of these games until now. And one of the viewers actually sent it to me in a link, and I'm going to show that to you right now. We're going to scroll through this and see it. So let's hide me. This page right here, which I'm going to be putting a link in the description to, was sent to me by a viewer, which I don't remember the exact name. I'll find it. I'll put it on the screen so we can see it. But anyway, basically, this guy went through and did his research a lot more thorough than I did, which shocked me, and came up with basically all 3 different print runs of the original Pokemon games and what to look for whenever you're trying to spot authentic games. And turns out that a lot of the games that you find on eBay and things like that, they're authentic, but they're not entirely authentic. Like, for instance, a 3rd generation print game could be packaged with a 2nd generation manual, and then that's also packaged with a 1st print game box. So it's really crazy. Now, not saying there's not fakes out there. There's plenty of fakes, but this webpage right here has broken down a lot of the stuff that I contemplated about, that I thought about, and they actually verified most of it. So this is what the first run of the Pokemon game looks like, and you can actually see that right here there is a Sandshrew battling a Meowth. That is the first print run. Inside of this print run, they are also going to have a 100% recyclable stamp on the bottom of the case. They will also have in it that fold that I was telling you that my games have, that's the only ones I've ever seen, and they will also have the cardboard insert that is built in. These game boxes were printed in Japan, which it goes in to say that as well, which is what I originally thought. These game boxes are very similar to Japanese boxes, and this is my own, theory on this, own speculation, but I believe that when they don't know if a game's going to do well in America, they printed it in Japan and then shipped it over to America to cut down on shipping cost. And then whenever it gets, well established and they know it's going to sell well, then they go ahead and move the production facility to America to start producing games there. So the first generation, the first printed box art had those differences in it. Then these are the numbers for the first generations as well, with the white E's. Now, the mid-production model still has the white E, but it could also have the black E as well. I think. Let me double check with this. Oh, nope, never mind. That's the late production. So the mid-production, it has the white E on it still, and the picture on the back has changed. So now it's a Pidgey versus a Rattata on the back, or Rattata, or however you'd like to say that. Also down at the bottom, since it is printed in America, apparently they don't have the same recyclable percentages that Japan had. But anyway, instead of 100%, it is 83% recycled. It has the little Y folds down at the bottom because they came with a game insert inside of them. So it is 100% official that these games did come with those box inserts. And I originally said that I didn't know if it did 100% came with it. I never saw one with it from the store. But then again, I've apparently never purchased any mid versions. I only purchased the early versions. Okay, and then you also have the stamp on the side is the same as well. Now, whenever you get down to the later versions have an black E stamped on it. The picture on the back still has a Pidgey and a Rattata. The stamp still has an 83% and it still has the wide fold. However, the later versions actually have an update in the game card and it has a -1 on it. So if your game number has a -1 on it, that is still legitimate. Now, in 1998, they changed the print from a white E to a black E, I believe. And let's see, yep, 1999, they changed it to a black E. Okay, and then we get into the yellow versions. The yellow versions, the very first print, still printed in Japan, did not have a E on it. So that's very good information to know. The original one did not have an E on it, and this is all American-based cards. Now, these boxes are actually really hard to find, and the reason why they're hard to find is they didn't have very many of them shipped to America, because at this point, Pokemon Red and Blue were being printed in America, so finding one of these legit in America was really difficult. And those did come with the cardboard insert as well. Again, those are very difficult to find. Now, they will always have a white E because, well, they didn't make them any other way. Next comes to the mid production, which is the one that I was used to having. This is one I always had. I've had several of these in my time, and same insert, same 83%, same barcode number. Then you get to the black E ones that have the same fold across it, and they have the one at the end that is the updated. So yes, this website goes through a bunch of different ones and variations and things like that. It's just a blog post that somebody came up with, and you can actually see the cardboard box right there with the indentions on it, so you know exactly what the indentions is supposed to say. Different variations of the boxes. This page right here is amazing. A bunch of information for you. Now, that being said, I know that I mentioned previously that I didn't really know what those boxes were supposed to be like what they came with, things like that. But everything else that I told you that you need to look for is entirely plausible. You need to make sure that the E's match. You need to make sure that the numbers match. You need to make sure that the box has good printed on it. You need to make sure that the Nintendo verified seal that are on the games, they are semi-reflective. You can't really tell that in the light, but it is semi-reflective. It's like that one right there. You need to double check all that stuff before you buy it, because these games have gone bonkers as far as price. Now, they have actually dropped in price recently. I'm thinking because the COVID restrictions have lifted and things like that. Previously, each one of these games in the box were selling for, well, before COVID, you could buy each one of these for like $50, $60, something like that. It wasn't very expensive at all. These now, 2 months ago, each one of these games were selling for over $500 a piece. Just last week, I looked them up again, and they have dropped to about $350 to $400, which is still crazy outrageous. I mean, no, I love these games dearly. Do not pay $500 for these games. It's insane. Don't do it. These prices will eventually drop. Don't buy them at that price right now. If you can snag one for $100, I think that's a decent deal, but don't go any higher than that. All right, the other videos, if you haven't watched them yet, go back and watch them. Keep in mind whenever I talk about the boxes, yeah, this is the definitive page that I have found that just came up earlier this year. It has more information on it than I could ever dream of putting into a video. So, check that out. If you have any questions, please comment on there. You can leave a comment on my video. If you enjoyed this, go ahead, give us a thumbs up and like the page. Thank you all very much. Have a great rest of your day, guys.